What will a jihadist organization do if it gets nuclear weapons? What will a jihadist organization do if it gets, a viable bioweapon, right? We know the
So basically, he's trying to make it seem like Palestinians have no right to fight back, even though they're being illegally occupied.
Are you serious?
We just have to acknowledge that there is a subset of people in the Muslim world for whom it is true, as they say of themselves, that they love death more than we love life.
Let me pause him there. Pause.
That's because we don't believe that this world is all there is to it. It doesn't mean that we're suicidal. Like, obviously, under Islamic law, we're not suicidal. You're not allowed to commit suicide or even harm yourself. So basically, the hadith says the following. Abu Sa'id al-Khudri reported, the Messenger of Allah, peace be upon him, said, do not cause harm or return harm. So in general, you're not allowed to harm people or harm yourself.
Is to think that when Israel tells people to evacuate northern Gaza, and they don't because Hamas is telling them not to do it, or it becomes...
Like, where is your evidence for this? And it's impossible to evacuate nearly 3 million people. There are hospitals there where people literally cannot move. Or there could be elderly, there could be sick, there could be babies. You cannot just move them. That's not how it works. Like bombing as a residential area is wrong. It doesn't matter how you justify it.
Yeah, well, it's basically it's absurd to think that you can evacuate people from hospitals within a 24-hour timeline, as what the Israelis did when they said that they were going to do an incursion into the northern part of Gaza, and then they gave 24 hours for everyone to evacuate, which is quite dumb. It sounds like Nazism. Okay, it sounds like what Hitler would have done. Okay, you give an impossible ultimatum when you very well know that there are people who are sick, who are infirm, who can't move from their houses perhaps, or even from hospitals. Definitely not from hospitals. I mean, how are you going to, let's say there's a cancer patient or someone who's about to go through an important operation, for example, a surgery. How are you going to move them within 24 hours?
At Israel's hostage, IDF says it mistakenly killed 3 men held in Gaza. These are hostages, but they don't even say hostages. The Israeli military says it has mistakenly killed 3 hostages during its campaign in Gaza after they were misidentified as a threat. How do you misidentify people? It's not like they're bombing them. So basically, what happened is that they're coming up to them. They're saying, "Oh, we're Jewish, we're Israeli," and they thought that they were terrorists, and they shot them. Like, if they're doing this to their own people, imagine what they will do, to like Palestinians.
And they drop bombs targeting Hamas installations that have been purposely put next to civilian areas that will cause carnage when Israel bombs them, like hospitals and schools.
It doesn't matter if the installation is right beside civilian areas. It's still illegal. You still cannot bomb that area.
Mosques. When Israel bombs those targets and kids die, which is obviously horrible, that is the same thing as Hamas jihadists coming in under cover of rocket fire at dawn and murdering babies in their cribs. It's not
again. That's another false news. They didn't murder any babies.
False news, There were no 40 beheaded babies. By the way,
did you guys see any of those babies that were 40 babies? Did you guys find evidence of the 40 babies?
Same thing. And body count doesn't resolve disparity.
Agreed. So we'll come to you in a sec, Eric. But what, as are we all. But what does that mean, Sam? Let me ask you this, right? The United States dropped a nuclear bomb on Japan, 2 of them. And after Hiroshima, I think it was Hiroshima, not Nagasaki, the US Army went in and they measured the blast impact. Not the release of energy from the nuclear bombs, but the actual destructive impact. And then they measured that and said, how much conventional munitions would we have to use to achieve the same destructive impact? In the last year and a half of World War II, the Allies, the British and the Soviets and the Americans, dropped 50 Hiroshimas a month on Germany. We flattened it, right? Because it was a death cult that took over that country, and Hitler said, we're going to make a last stand. We don't care about civilian casualties. We're going to stand to the death. What you're saying is Gaza is in the grips of a death cult of the same nature, or worse. What does that mean? Right? I don't want 1 million children in Gaza to die and be burnt in bomb shelters like the Germans.
By the way, look at the framing here. And this brother said it right. Sam is a terrorist. He is a terrorist. He's supporting terrorism right now.
Yeah.
He's talking about flattening entire neighborhoods, committing genocide. That's what he's defending.
It is crazy. No question about it. Yeah.
I mean, like, he's literally talking about killing innocent people. That's what he's justifying.
It's horrible, yeah.
Or aerial bombing of German cities and dropping the bombs on Nagasaki and Hiroshima. I think there was a calculation that again, I don't consider myself an expert on recent scholarship on this, and I know that about 20 years ago, A.C. Grayling, the British philosopher, wrote a book about the alley bombing of German cities, and concluded that it really was ethically unjustifiable. Right? It's just we told ourselves a story about how this was necessary to win the war, and it was not a compelling story even at the time. I'm not so sure what analysis is true there, but what I think Israel is held to a higher standard than certainly we were 70 years ago, and
Look at this dude.
even than we,
Israel is held to a higher standard. What? You're literally justifying them killing kids. How are they held to higher standards? Like America, like think of what you will about America. America didn't kill this many people in Afghanistan in such a short period of time. And usually,
Yes.
when it comes to Americans, they didn't flatten entire neighborhood. Even in Iraq and Afghanistan, they did kill people. Don't get me wrong. They were still bad, but they didn't kill as many people, and they still got criticized. Like Israel is like America on steroids. Like they're getting almost no repercussion from this. America is still defending them, and they're clearly committing genocide.
I think they should hold themselves to the highest possible standard, and they certainly should be alert to the difference between committing war crimes,
Highest possible standard by killing as many children as possible.
knowing that it's impossible not to kill some innocent people when you're trying to
What are
fight.
you talking about? Like, how can I be reluctant when you nearly have wiped out like a portion of their population? Like, if they go at the rate that they're going in, this will be genocide.
If you just imagine the Israelis attempting to use their own non-combatants as human shields, right, in any conflict against jihadists. Say Hezbollah comes across the northern border, and the Israelis line up with their own women and kids, barrels of their weapons on the shoulders of their children, thinking that Hezbollah is going to be reluctant to shoot through the bodies of their children to kill IDF soldiers. I mean,
By the way, what's interesting is that he will say things like human shields when it comes to Palestinians, even though he knows full well that Gaza is a very densely populated area. There's literally no way for them to build something that will not be near a civilian area. So on top of it, and yet on Israel, by the way, uses their own civilians and as reservists. Like there's no like every civilian has to serve in the military. So when you're killing IDF, you are technically killing civilians, or there's a chance that you're killing civilians because everyone in Israel have to serve in the military. So how are they then not using human shield? Basically, it says that Israeli army in the West Bank uses Palestinian detainees as human shield. Incident took place early Friday after Israeli army raided Fawar refugee camp near Hebron, eyewitnesses say. So in the West Bank, they're literally using Palestinian as human shield. And then they're blaming like...
completely surreal Monty Python sketch where all the Jews die. It is not, it is laughable, it is unthinkable. It's unthinkable at every level of it. It's unthinkable that the Jews would treat their own children and non-combatants that way, given what they believe about everything.
They do use human shield. What are you talking about?
Israelis have had to confront this behavior on multiple fronts in every conflict against jihadists. They routinely use non-combatants as human shields, and Hamas is doing that now. I think Israel has to figure out how to navigate around that and eradicate jihadists.
Sam Harris wants Israel to eradicate jihadists. Now, you need to understand something. The word jihad means struggle. So every Muslim believes in jihad. I believe in jihad. Brother MENJ believes in jihad. So what he's essentially saying is that Israel have to get rid of jihadis, meaning Israel have to get rid of all Muslims. Now, you know what? Let me be charitable. Let me say, you know what? Maybe he doesn't mean that. Okay. So what does it mean? He means Israel have to get rid of people who oppose Israel. Right? That's the most charitable interpretation I can give. So you're saying that a country, which was, by the way, it was established by violent force, and anyone who opposed that force, it has to be killed. So these people, Israelis or the Zionists, have the right to go to any land and take over the territory, and anyone who opposes them have to be killed. Like that's what he's saying. Like he's definitely he's justifying an illegal occupation. Like I don't know how else to put it. Like he's defending war crime. He's defending international crime against humanity. That's what he's defending. He's saying that anyone who opposes illegal occupation, by the way, which is legal under international law, these people are criminal, but people who are committing the crime are innocent. Like, he has it completely backward. Subhanallah. But anyway, like this is the level of morality these atheists operate with. It's completely delusional. Like it's baffling to me that people actually listen to him.
eradicate Hamas. We're confounded to some degree by our terminology here. We keep talking about terrorists, and we had a war on terror for a quarter of a century now. Terrorism is a tactic. Terrorism is not the thing we're fighting. We're fighting jihad. And
What's the difference, Sam? Explain to people what the difference
well,
is.
jihadism is the
Listen carefully.
radical core of Islam. It is this principle of holy war that can be justified in various contexts. Yes, there are many millions of Muslims, thankfully, who justify it in ways that we would recognize as something we could live with, right? So a defensive war, right? A just war theory. Okay, great. There are other Muslims who say, no, you don't understand. Jihad is just an inner spiritual struggle. Okay, great. But historically and practically now, a component of jihad has always been you convert, subjugate, kill the infidel, right? It's like Islam is a religion of conquest. It views itself as a religion of conquest. It expects to win these contests for believers at the end of time, and it has an explicitly martial ethic, which is we have to win through force, right? And we're happy to die trying. However long we fail, we're ultimately going to succeed. But we're happy to throw our bodies and the bodies of our children into this because this life is a total illusion. It has.
That is false. Like, he doesn't even understand the basics of Islamic creed. In Islam, you're not allowed to commit suicide, or nor are you allowed to put other people in harm's way. As I just said, there's a hadith that says you cannot harm yourself and you cannot harm others. However, there's another hadith where the Prophet said that do not wish for war, but if war ever comes to you, then know that heaven is beneath the shade of swords. That is the proper definition of what jihad is, which is this idea that Muslims don't go around wishing to fight people. But if they're on our territory and they're threatening our livelihood, then yeah, we're going to fight. Like any people in the world, forget Hamas, like take any people in the world and they'll say the same thing. If you take their land, if you occupy them illegally, they're going to fight you. Like forget Israelis. Remove Palestinians from this equation and put like any other group in that situation. Put the Americans, put the British, any people that is in the position of the Palestinians would do the exact same thing. They do the exact same thing. That's because the issue isn't jihad. Jihad is just simple warfare. The issue is you abusing international law and you oppressing people, you violating Islamic law and oppressing people. That is causing people to resist you. And then when they resist you, you're calling them terrorists. And that is like, it's a completely warped perspective. But because like many Americans don't see this, and this is what the problem is, their perspective is completely upside down. They have it completely upside down. And Sam Harris is the same way. He has it completely upside down. He doesn't realize that he's just saying everything just backwards.
It existed.
I don't really know what to say.
And we should be killing jihadis.
Yeah, there. He literally said it. He wants to kill Muslims. He wants to kill Muslims. That's what he's saying. We want to kill jihadis. What does it mean? It means people who are fighting for their own land, people who are resisting the illegal occupation. He wants to kill people who are fighting for their own land and for their own lives. That's what we want to kill. What an evil scumbag.
So the leaders of Hamas in Qatar,
Yeah.
those guys, the clock should be ticking on those guys.
So
right?
it is.
Yeah. So,
That-
but that's
So he wants to kill, he wants to violate international law and kill people in countries that they have no business being in. You killing other people that you don't like in someone else's borders. That's extrajudicial killing. That's against international law. And he's advocating for something that goes against, that's international crime. So he's advocating for international crime. Assassination. That's what he's talking about. He's promoting assassinations, illegal assassinations.
So that's the most important piece from my point of view. Jihad as a job description.
This guy's a psycho. It's just baffling to listen to these evil people talk, because I feel like we need to understand how these people's mind work. These people are so evil. They don't realize they're asking for the death of innocent people. They're justifying deaths of innocent people. And it's kind of crazy how they do that. It's just like, it's mind-boggling. I'll see you guys next time. Assalamu alaikum.